Wren Cooking. Today we are going to be making a super delicious and wonderfully smelling basic bread. Today I'm going to be cooking with my cat Eloise, and we're going to be cooking along with you. We're going to be doing every stage at the same time as you do.
What kit do we need? Bread flour, which is quite heavy. After sugar. Cooking salt. Fast action dry yeast. Oil. Hot or cold?
Warm.
Warm. I made a little gap here.
You have? Shall we get cooking then? So grab your scales and we'll turn them on and then we'll rest our bowl on top.
Zero it off.
You press it again, 0. There we go. And it says 0. We'll put them on. How much does our bowl weigh? 1,909 grams. That's nearly 2 kilos. Let's 0 that off. There we go. So I like to do a mixture of the bread flour. So I've got a little bit of wholemeal. We'll pop that in.
All of it?
Yeah, let's go crazy. Pop that in there. So you can use wholemeal bread flour or plain bread flour. I like to have a little bit of wholemeal in there, just give it a bit more of a texture to it. So that's that. And if you want a bit of extra fun, you can do some sitting as well. So we need 500 grams of flour. Now we're using what's called bread flour because it's a stronger flour. So it's got higher levels of gluten in there than the normal plain flour. All of it in. So you've got 250 grams. How many scoops do you think it's going to take us to get to 500 grams of flour? Keep scooping. Wow, look at these muscles. You'll need strong muscles.
They already hurt.
Your muscles already hurt. Wow, we're going to need a bit more stamina than that. How much have we got? 470. So we only need another 30 grams. I think that's going to be a little scoop. Now, if we do anything quicker than you, feel free to pause. Oh, we've got too much. We're going to have to scoop out 40 grams. There we go. Now, pop it back in here. There we go. That will do nicely. There we go. So I'll just get this out of the way.
Can I mix them together?
That would be a great idea. Would you like to use the wooden spoon?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, mix them together. What? Maybe a wooden spoon might keep more of it in the bowl. Try to keep your flour in the bowl. What we say is low and slow.
Steady and stern.
Steady and stern. Ooh, that sounds really serious.
Right.
Now we like to have a lot of fun when we're cooking in the kitchen, but as long as we stay safe, that will be fine. There we go. That's okay. So we're getting down to how much flour we need. Now we need to add in our butter. Now do you remember how much butter we said we needed? I think it was 25 grams. So it's not actually very much butter at all.
Yummy.
Now I know I've shown this in other videos, but for the children's knives, I prefer to use a knife that has a little kind of finger guard there.
Mummy, it's too cold.
Is it too cold?
See, I can't do it.
Wow, that's not going to do us very good. Let's problem solve. We're going to grate our butter in. So let's 0 that off so we know how much butter we've got.
Can I grate it?
I'm using
You're vibrating.
Oh, can you 0 it off?
Hey, you're vibrating.
I'm vibrating. Am I? Oh,
It looks like someone's got very curly hair.
Do you know, it looks like cheese. Oh, no. Keep the spoon out because I'm trying to weigh the butter, not your spoon. Wow, look at that. That looks great.
Can I try some?
Get that? It looks great. It's a grater.
Oh yeah. Can I have some?
Hold on a second. We're just going to make sure we've got enough for our recipe.
And then can I?
So I'm holding it at the end so that I don't grate my fingers as well. Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever cooked with a cat before? It's quite a new experience for me as well. So let's give that a tap. Kitty cat. There we go.
Hey, can I have some?
You want to try some butter? Now, what's our rules with trying things when we're cooking? Because I love to say
You're only allowed to have raw eggs and raw meat.
you're only allowed to eat raw eggs and raw meat.
No, you're not allowed.
Not allowed to. No, that's right. So we need to make sure they're cooked. I've got a bit of butter sticking in my finger. Do you want? Oh.
Can I have some?
You can try a little bit on the back there, but not too much.
No.
Tickle fingers. So what we're going to try to do is just use our fingers to tickle the butter in there. That's it. Lift it nice and high. Just squeeze it between your fingertips. That's it. It's actually easier if you've grated it because it's already half broken up for you. Now, if you're not sure how to use tickle fingers, have a little practice on someone close to you.
Oi!
I don't think my cat likes to be tickled. There we go. Shall we lift that up? Have a little.
I only like it under my tummy.
Oh, cats do like their tummies tickled, don't they? Do dogs like their tummies tickled?
Yeah, they do.
Do hamsters like their tummies tickled?
I'm not sure about that,
I'm not sure about hamsters liking their tummies tickled.
but I like a good bird.
Now, some of you might notice that my cat does not have an apron on today, and some of you, especially the parents, might have noticed that it's a black cat. But I think by the end of making this bread, we are going to have a black and white cat. Why do you think we're going to have a black and white cat?
Because of flour.
Yeah, because of that flour. So, try to keep it a bit lower, and we're just going to break up, rub the. Oh my gosh!
It's snowing.
It is snowing. There we go. Now, what the action that we're actually meant to be using is basically rubbing our thumbs in circles to break up the butter in there. So yeah, it takes a bit of patience to be cooking with the children.
Ow!
But it's really worth it on so many levels. You've got this fantastic activity that you have fun in when you're playing, but we're also learning how to make things, and it's tastier than something that you can just pop on your fridge. Hey, Missy Puss, come on. So, if you've had really good tickle fingers, we'll keep it in the bowl. A lot of your buttery lumps should be mixed up. So if you get got you back. If you get nice big chunks in your hand, just have a little feel. Make sure.
I'm gonna get you back.
Oh no! Now I'm not too worried about the little bits of flour that are getting on the bench, because we'll actually be using them in a little bit. Okay, so can you find any big lumps in there? And we're going to make some holes using either our fingers or the end of our wooden spoon.
I know exactly why. I'm gonna do it with the wooden spoon.
Okay, so we need a hole for the salt. Check.
Yeah.
We need a hole for the sugar.
Check.
And we need a hole for the yeast.
Check.
And what we're going to do is make sure that the salt doesn't sit with the yeast for too long, because the salt will actually kill off the yeast if it's just sat like right next door to each other. So we've got 2 spoons. Which one do you think is the tablespoon?
The biggest one.
The biggest one is the tablespoon, that's right. And we need a
And
tablespoon.
the littler one is the teaspoon.
It is, well done. So we need about, not a big mountainful, but that much of the sugar. Which hole should I pop that into? Not that one. Okay, so we're going to pop that into one hole. And we'll pop the lid back on so you don't end up with sugar everywhere. And then we need a bit of cooking salt. I don't think we needed too much salt, do we? Was it 1 teaspoon? Okay, so we'll get 1 teaspoon of salt. Nice little teaspoon. Now we've just got cooking salt. I don't think you're going to want to poke your tongue
I
in
want to
this.
try it.
which little hole in there are we going to put?
There.
Over in that corner? There we go. Now don't start mixing because I want to show everybody what this looks like. Now, should we get a little yeast sachet? Okay, so we've got our yeast there. We're using fast action dried yeast. And that's the salt. And there's the sugar. Charlotte, do you remember what the sugar does?
It wakens the...
Just try a couple bits. There we go. What does the sugar do?
It wakens up the yeast.
It wakes up the yeast because shouting at the yeast I don't think will help waking it up. Waking it up, there we go. Because do you know what the yeast actually does in our bread? Well, it helps to break down some of the sugars in the flour. And by doing that, it creates little bubbles of gas, carbon dioxide. And you know when our bread rises...
Can I start mixing?
Well, we might put our water in first. When it starts rising, that's the bubbles in the yeast doing that. So we've got 320 millilitres because for fluids we measure in millilitres. Things like flour, so solids, we measure in grams.
Mummy?
So we're going to pour in really slowly some of the water. Now not hot water because that will just burn the yeast. Okay, put a bit more in.
Whoa.
Yeah, do you want to get mixing? There we go. See, that's already too much because we might actually not need all of our water. So I'd recommend just adding a little bit of water in at a time rather than the whole lot. So maybe what I should have done is had 2 separate jugs then. So maybe just put in about 100 millilitres or about half of it and give it a stir. So we're going to start off stirring with our wooden spoon. Now I think making bread, I love doing it on my own, it's really peaceful and you get into a bit of a rhythm with it. But it's also a really fun family activity, especially if you get to share the hard work and not get poked in the face with the end of the wooden spoon.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Oh, you actually look like a proper witch's cat now, stirring your witch's cauldron. Okay.
Without her knowing.
Without her knowing, gosh. There we go.
This looks tasty.
Yep, so we're going to keep stirring until we've got as much of that
Until
loose
can
flour
I try it?
up together as a ball.
Can I try it?
And try a little bit. We don't want to try too much because it might get stuck in our tummies. Watch my face, man. Nice and down low in there.
Mummy's
then-
too good at it.
No, look, you started it off. Okay, do you want to just scrape up some flour in there? Do you want to keep turning?
No, you
I'll hold the bowl for you. There we go. There are some fantastic non-slip bottom bowls out that are great for cooking with kids. There we go. How's that, nice and sticky? Oh, that feels lovely. Gosh. Now we're almost at the stage where we're going to get really, really messy. And what I might do is tell you, that's enough. Tell you the top tip for how to clean your hands as you go.
I
You
know
gotta-
easily.
Yeah, you got to trust me that the more you work with it, the less messy your hands are going to get. Try not to use water to wash them just yet. If you get lots of sticky on your hands,
I
we
don't
get
want...
a bit of flour and we'll rub it together and it will end up flaking off. I'll just bring that over to you. Here we go. So that's what ours is looking like at the moment. So it's actually not too wet. I really thought that there was going to be too much water in there. So now for the fun bit. You trying to give me a kiss?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, I feel so sad. No kisses.
Because we're in the middle of cooking.
Oh yeah, it's not appropriate, is it? Yeah. So I've just used the scraper to just push that off
Because it
there.
isn't a kissing club.
It's not a kissing club, no, you're right. Should we sprinkle? Actually, given how good you are at sprinkling flour, should we sprinkle some flour on the bench? So, really little sprinkles of flour. And the higher up you sprinkle from, the better spread you get. Because if you do it too low, you're just going to get it in one spot. Should we do it up high? But not so high it goes all over your kitchen. No, we actually need it on the bench, not your spoon. You're gonna look, how high can you do it from? Tip your toes? What? Okay, we need a try to keep it on your bench, not your floor. Okay, so I'm just doing like a folding motion in the bowl to try to make sure we get that all out. Okay. Now, at this bit, we're going to set our timers for 10 minutes. This is how long we need to knead the bread for. We need to knead.
We need to knead.
We need to knead. To knead. To knead, to knead, to knead, to knead, to knead. Okay, sorry for the singing. If you've turned off, come back. I won't sing anymore. Although, I guess it'd be cool if we had a kneading song.
Knead it. You need to knead it. Knead it.
Okay, let's set our timers for 10 minutes. So the best kneading action.
I don't want to have that much messy.
Actually, do you know this is quite a dry dough today? This is quite good. So stretch it away with the palms of your hands. Show me your palms. So that's this bit of your hand.
That's where you do
And
feel
really squash. Yeah, and then fold, twist, squash, fold, twist. Now, normally we trying to stay just with this motion. Sometimes we find little people find it a little bit tedious. But if you can make some fun games out of it, you could have a competition. So you could do a minute of kneading each. So take it in turns. One person does 1 minute, another person does 1 minute, and as long as you keep it moving, keep it squishing.
Keep the flour on the floor.
No, keep the flour on the bench. As long as you keep working it, you're going to keep waking up that yeast. It's going to get the gluten in the bread nice. Do you want to have a turn?
No.
Do you know, this is our least stickiest bread that we've ever done.
But it's quite sticky also.
Yeah. If it's really super sticky, just pick up some of the flour on the bench. If it sticks to the bench, see, sometimes actually making mistakes means that I can show you more things. But if it gets stuck, just get a scraper, scrape it onto the thing, add a little bit of flour. Don't add too much because as you work it, it will become less sticky and it'll become kind of smooth. That's it. So just keep squishing it, moving it. There's no 100% right or wrong way of doing this as long as it keeps moving. Wow, look at those muscles. This is such a good workout. Whoa. Have you got such a good technique? This is amazing. Keep your techniques. Is this how a cat kneads its dough? I actually think if I saw a cat making bread, this is exactly how a cat would be doing it. So try to keep it moving because the longer it stays there, it's more going to stick. Okay, so we've been kneading now for 3 minutes. That's excellent. So we're just under a third of the way through. As long, it's a bit more dangerous to do that technique when it's a really wet and sloppy mixture. If it's so wet and sloppy, add some more flour in. There we go. Oh, is it starting to stick a bit?
Is your go?
Yeah. Just don't wipe it on the cloth. Get some flour. It's a good chance to show what we mean. Lay your hands out. Get some flour in there and rub them together, and it gets all of those sticky bits off. Voila. Do you want to sneak over and show everybody your hands? There we go. And I'll get in kneading this.
After that, they look just like that.
So the way that we can do bread at home ourselves, we can use our hands and our muscles, get in, really feel the bread. I love the tactileness of the bread. Or you could use a dough hook on a kitchen mixture. So we are halfway through our rolling process. How are your arms going?
Good. They've only just started to be achy. Actually, they haven't got achy yet.
Oh, fantastic. So back in the Roman days, if you were making big lots of bread, you would need an ox or a slave, and you'd strap them to some big wooden paddles, and they'll move the paddles around a massive bowl. Let's squeeze this. There we go. How's your cat mask going?
Good.
Fantastic. And can anyone guess when the oldest record of the first type of bread goes back to?
The Egyptians.
Even further back. Goes
What?
back to Stone Age.
Cool.
It's about 8,000 years ago they made the
Did
first
they
flatbread.
with a mistake?
That was yeast, actually.
Oh.
Yeast as a leavener was first discovered by mistake when someone left some of the grains in water overnight. And it started bubbling up. And that's how they came up with some yeast. There you go. And the first ovens, they were made about 5,000 years ago, so that's how you got the first kind of bread, rising bread. Oops, we've got hair. We don't want hairy bread, do we? There we go. Was that a cat here in there, do you think?
No.
Okay,
No, I
let's put
have.
a little bit more flour in there. So what we're trying to do is get it until it's super smooth. I think that's looking pretty good. Some breads use beer as the rising agent to make the bubbles in the bread. But that's a different recipe. Don't put beer in this. So this is what our bread looks like. So
It's sticky.
is it still a bit sticky? There we go. So it's kind of a bit smoother on top. I think we could actually go for another minute. Alright, so once you've finished your kneading, we're going to set this to proof back in the bowl. So could my cat get our mixing bowl back, please? Just pour a little bit of the olive oil in the bowl, just to help stop that sticking. We prefer to knead with our hands rather than our faces. I think this is going to be the silliest cooking video I think we've made yet. So we'll give that a swirl around. With our hands, let's just give it a little swish, swish. So it's not flooding with oil, that's just enough to stop it sticking. So we've popped that in there, and we're just going to get a little bit of cling film to go over the top of the bowl. You could use a beeswax wrap if you want. Oh, should we just... Oh, there we go. A reusable resource. Clever. Now, just keep this somewhere warm. Don't put it in the oven. Just put it somewhere warm. If it's too warm, the bubbles will grow too fast, too quick, too big. And the gluten that's in the flour won't be able to hold it up. So it'll get nice and big. And then when you cook it, your flour bits won't be strong enough and it'll just go. So we're going to keep that somewhere warm for 1 hour. I know, I'm not that patient either. So we'll set our timers for 1 hour. We'll leave that somewhere warm and then we'll come back and see you soon.
My tail pulled off. This is what you should do when you're waiting for your bread to start. Well, I can feel it just up here.
Wow, has it risen? Let's have a look.
Oi,
Oi,
it's stuck.
is it stuck? Did you put it down too well? Whoa, don't press that down. Let's show everybody what we've got. Wow. Now that's quite bigger than what we had last time.
It looks like... Hey, Mummy.
Yes. No, not yet, not yet.
I was trying to make a smiley.
Well, actually, that's how we test if it's ready. Hold on a second. So get a pointy finger.
Yeah.
Right. Poke it in. If your hole, don't need to press it too far. If it stays dented, it's ready. If the dent doesn't stay, leave it for another 15 minutes with the cover on.
Done. It's done.
We generally say an hour.
Can I try and eat this?
Well, should you help with the next stage? So next stage, we're going to get our bread in. Now this is going to be shaping and then waiting again.
Oh,
So
what?
I'm going to pour a little bit of olive oil into the tin. Let's do a
Can I do the olive oil?
just a little bit. There we go. Would you like to swirl it around with your finger? There we go.
I've got something that
Finger
can
or
do
just spin?
it. No, finger. Finger.
Okay, can you get the finger so it goes all the way up the sides as well?
Yeah.
That's it. Give it a little scribble. all those monsters that you use for your maths?
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you've pushed it all around. There we go.
Destroying the monster of math.
Now we get to knead this a little bit again, so we get a little bit of the flour that we prepared earlier. This is cool. I love this bit. Shall we drop it? Yeah. It's got oil on the bottom, so we don't want to do it from too high. Now we finish with that bowl. Would you like to knead us a little bit?
Can I try some?
Oh, not too much. Not too much, because we still need some for our bread. So, oh, wow, that feels so nice. Now, a little top tip. I know we're doing a loaf tin, but if we break this into 3 different sections at this stage, okay, so give them just a little bit of a knead. We're not going to be knocking everything back yet, but all we need to just do is distribute those yeast cells in there. So we're not doing a big kneading process.
It's super sticky.
It is. Oh, that's the olive oil on the outside that we had in. So we're just going to
Even in the
fold
inside.
it in. Is that going to... No. You've got to tuck the edges in under that. So we hold it like that. Let me put that piece in that end. So we get our big blob, right? And we try to smooth it. Just like you're patting a cat. Like a kitty cat. So...
Just like me. I took my things off.
Oh, you did, yes. We've been playing outside while we've been waiting.
And I've made a unicorn.
Fantastic. We'll plop that in there. So we'll leave that for about, I'd say about half an hour if it's a really warm day. We're going to do it for about 45 minutes. And we'll leave that there. And then when we come back, all we have to do is bake it. And pop your oven up to 200 degrees Celsius or gas mark 6. Just give it enough time to get nice and hot because your bread will need to go into a nice hot oven.
Wow! Look how high they went.
Whoa.
Before when I went to the toilet, they were only the same height as the thing.
Wow, they have risen so well. Remembering that our oven's going to be really hot, we'll get this an adult supervising. I'm going to put these in first. Yes, this is going to make a nice steam, which will help the bread to cook really nicely. So that's going in the bottom there. Oh, thank you very much, kitchen helper. Great. I'm going to pop that in there. Okay, so we're going to set our timer for 30 minutes. And we'll check on it. So you can keep having a look, but don't open the door at least until your 30 minutes is up. So my timer is on for 30 minutes.
Let's have a look.
And what we're looking for is for the colour on top to change, and that will be the crust rising. And then when we think it's done, we can take it out and give it a little tap on the top, and if it sounds hollow, it's done. But we'll press pause for half an hour to see if our bread is ready. So our oven whooshes a big load of steam when we open it, so let's stand back and be super careful. Ooh.
That wasn't
Wow.
that much.
Can you guys see that? Now, because it's fresh out the oven, it's going to be very hot. So we're going to do our first test, and that's the knock knock. Wow, that sounds really good. We're looking for a nice hollow sound, so getting 2 cloths to turn it out properly. I have an echo. Let's turn it out there. There we go. Wow, that looks amazing. I'm going to give it a little... That sounds brilliant. I'm really happy with mine. That's gorgeous. Now, the reason we did it in the 3 chunks was to do a more even bake. But I think my preference is just for one big solid piece. It looks prettier. That it smells so good. My house smelled absolutely amazing while that was baking. So what we're going to do, I know it's really tempting to start slicing it up and eating it now, but apart from it being too hot and maybe burning your tongue, it needs to set the crumb. So if you leave it for a few minutes, it's going to be extra tasty. So, well done, top marks.